It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, welcome back, you beautiful souls. You know what time it is when you see that beautiful face on your screens, and we're talking about everything relationship advice. Now, studies have shown that the modern 40-hour work week is not a model that works for all people. Now, especially now that the divide between work and home is kind of blurred, to be very honest, and many of us continue to work from home. Now, these times, although they are tough, have forced some people to hustle and work extra hard to make ends meet. Yeah?
And it has been a very trying time. So today we are asking the question, has working through the pandemic left you feeling burnt out? Well, we have clinical psychologist Asha Dullabh in studio here to help us really discuss this. And we are also taking your questions and comments via our Facebook page. Please head on over to the Expresso Show Facebook page. And you can call us on 021 110 5552 and please connect with us. Asha, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Oh, you know what? I feel like I needed to take a deep breath because this is a very interesting topic. I think a lot of people pride themselves on being busy and being all over. What is it about that hustle culture that's, people are celebrating?
Well, it's definitely, we celebrate our sense of importance. We like to be validated. And I think as human beings, I think we search for what I call the A drugs, the need for approval, the need for attention, acknowledgement, acceptance, appreciation. And we will do anything to get that. And I think what has happened now is that we're actually becoming addicted to the sense of busyness. It's almost like the rise and grind instead of rise and shine.
I think I've definitely been a victim to that, to be very honest with you. You get so caught up in wanting to be busy because busy means productive. But if you take a bigger picture and step back, you might actually be doing more harm than good. And maybe this is the question I want to ask you is why even, and I can relate to this, blowing a week up, working so hard, getting things done, but it comes at a cost. I'm tired, I'm injured myself, but yet I still feel this gratitude because I've achieved something. Why is that this weird norm that we have as human beings?
Well, we definitely are searching for instant gratification, but that is very short-lived. So we get into this mode of habit. And we actually do things very unconsciously. We're not consciously thinking exactly what are we doing, which aids in this addictive pattern of stress. And it's also just the language that we use, I'm busy or I'm hustling and I need to do this. So we get into this mode where language is actually using us. And our whole narrative has become about being busy. Which is taking us away from our complete well-being, and we're sitting with stats from the World Health Organization showing us that we actually are approaching a pandemic of chronic illness.
Jeez.
And it's quite scary because that obviously leans towards a burnout. A lot of people who are working from home, they're finding it difficult to switch off. Or you find people that now with smartphones, you can still reply to emails after hours or over weekends. So you never really have that moment to switch off. Asha, what are some of what's the downside of a burnout? In fact, a burnout's not good at all. So what are some of the consequences of a burnout?
Oh, there's such a vast amount of consequences, both emotionally, psychologically, and of course, physically. We disconnect from ourselves. We lose our sense of confidence, we get distracted, we engage in activities such as taking in alcohol, drugs that are more toxic to our systems. So we are finding ourselves not well, and we actually are suffering. We are suffering a lack of joy. We are suffering a lack of enjoyment and satisfaction. I think burnout is very much related to our job satisfaction. If we are enjoying something, we are not going to feel a sense of burnout or stress. But most people are engaging in activities that are not really what they are desiring or longing for. And that is where we need to start looking at ourselves and saying, what is it that we really want? Am I happy? And in that way, we can really just sort of look more at our well-being. Otherwise, we're going to be faced with chronic health illness, mental states that, you know, we are losing ourselves. We become less and less authentic.
Oh, wow. Well, Zanzi, don't go anywhere. Obviously, Asha Dullabh will be here, sticking around, of course, answering some of your questions. So if you have any questions, or if you felt like you've been burnt out during this pandemic, then reach us on our social media channels, or you can dial that number 021 110, well, 110 552, and come through with those questions. We will be here to answer just after this. But before we get into that, Carl's got something special for Gospel Monday. Let's find out what it is.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Well, we love Mondays on your Feel Good Breakfast show. Not only is it Gospel Monday, but we also get to talk relationships with Asha Dullabh. This morning we are asking the question, has working through the pandemic left you feeling burnt out? Now, Asha, you are here as we unpack this topic. It is one that is so necessary given what the World Health Organization has released regarding stats around the amount of time we work and the effects it has. Now, I'll put my hand up. I have suffered a burnout and it took me quite some time to recover. But on average, how long does it take for someone to get out of that burnout phase?
Well, to begin to understand burnout is a process in itself to reach burnout. So that means it'll be a process to heal as well.
Yeah.
The healing process actually relates to firstly, our burning in process. We burn in first before we burn out. And what I mean by that is that there's an inflammation in our thoughts, in our emotions, which then translates to our bodies. Toxic thoughts in our own internal dialogue about our own pressures, our own stresses, and that becomes quite an internal process that we experience on many levels. It's almost like a loss in ourselves, and that actually then manifests in the burnout symptoms as well. So it is a process, and we need to implement the strategies to actually create more capacity in ourselves as human beings to try and aid the whole dilemma of the burnout.
You know what's very interesting to me is the fact that not many people know when burnout is coming because you are vibing. You're just going. And there are some telltale signs, but you ignore them because you have to work. Socioeconomics tells us we can't afford to skip a day. So with regard to this, I mean, what are some of the things that you could say are identifiers of when burnout is coming? And then second part of the question is, as soon as you realize that they're coming, is there actually any way to say, I need to stop or prevent it perhaps?
Yes, of course. I think we all are recognizing the signs. It's exhaustion.
Yeah.
We then also get into a place where we doubt ourselves, we lack motivation, we sort of escape from the world, from ourselves. We use alcohol, we use drugs, but the reality is that not many people are even recognizing these signs.
Yes.
We're looking past it, we're ignoring these signs, and this is what the urgency is to actually recognize the signs. We are becoming addicted to this mode of stress, of burnout, of go, of hustle.
Yeah.
And we need to pause and take a step back and say, what is our why? You know, where's our why? Why are we doing things? We need to say yes with discernment. We need to say no without guilt. We need to be able to really create capacity, our reserves, and we need to say, what is that we need? Do we need to rest? Do we need to connect with nature more? Do we need to pay more attention to our intentions as to why and how are we doing things? It's not what we do, it's how we do it. And that's the most important thing, really looking back into ourselves and our own internal dialogue about ourselves, getting to know our entire sense of self.
I feel like you're preaching to the choir because
there's a big
that
choir,
has been me being able to say no without feeling guilty. And something I just want to touch on is when I experienced my burnout, it was career highs, which I was supposed to celebrate, and all I could think of in that moment was, please can it end? I just want to go home. I am tired. I want to sleep. And then the next day is quite busy again. And getting out of that is not an easy process, but leading up to that point also took some time. So you need to be patient with yourself. Asha, as we say goodbye to you, what are some of the last key tips you can give someone to just really embrace doing a de-stress activity or finding joy in that?
Yes, I would say take moments, pause, and look for the awe moments in your day. Stop, even if it's that cup of coffee that you're going to enjoy, stop, take in that cup of coffee. really become mindful of your breaks. Live more consciously. I think we're living far more as species of habit. We are just habitual human beings, and we need to stop and pause and look at what our intentions are. We can create a lifestyle of holiday in our mode of thinking. Stay more focused on what we're doing in our present moment, because that will dictate the pleasantness of our future.
I love that.
Wow, I'm so glad. I feel like she spoke to us. She did. It's lovely. So we're going to take some stock. Thank you very much for being here, and always just a wealth of knowledge. But at the moment, what we need to do now is just take stock. Maybe sit down with a rusk and a cup of coffee. That's a good idea. Why not?
Yeah.